It is sad because I was doing great things.
Mm-hmm. Making a difference.
I don't know what you were doing.
Definitely great things. I would describe everything I do in Conan as a great thing.
Of course. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire official podcast. You are listening to episode number 53. On this show, we like to talk about things like comic books, movies, TV shows, video games, and really pretty rarely political discourse. I am your host, Tactic Angel, and with me is Midget Radio, my murderous socialist friend.
Hello.
Midget Radio, you sound great. Do you feel as good as you sound?
I feel absolutely wonderful. Tactic Angel, how are you?
I am okay, and things are only looking up.
That's great. What a positive beginning to this episode.
I know. Well, part of it's because I went out to get a 6-pack.
Oh, wow.
312.
Sounds classy.
312 is, of course, a completely okay and drinkable beer that you can drink at Wrigley Field, which
that's
is
great.
Actually a pretty nice beer to drink at Wrigley Field. It is a wheat beer from Chicago with a light lemony aroma. I think that it tastes better outside when it is above 80 degrees, but it is perfectly acceptable for our circumstances.
How expensive is it at Wrigley Field?
I want to say, I mean, it costs the same as like getting a Budweiser at Busch Stadium. I think it's like, I think they have bizarre prices like $8.50, and it's like, is that so you tip $1.50 on every bottle?
Yeah, maybe.
It kind of feels like it. But it's a 16-ounce cup at Wrigley, so it's not so bad.
That's not bad. Not too bad.
I mean, it's not a good price. I buy it.
No, it's a terrible price, but I mean, considering, not bad.
In terms of highway robbery,
right.
It's pretty reasonable.
Contextually, yeah, I'm all right with it. Fantastic.
I take it that you are teetotaling this week?
I am drinking the larceny again.
Whew.
That's what was brought to me. My wife was kind enough to bring me the booze. So that's what I have.
What a dear.
It's perfectly serviceable.
We have some perfectly serviceable alcohol today. Okay, well, that's great because that will segue nicely into our one and only topic today, Deadpool 2. So apparently Ryan Reynolds, who we all remember of Van Wilder fame, is the only person who really gets the X-Men property, or even a small portion of it. Ryan begged, borrowed, stole, and then I think he had to leak the original Deadpool trailer in order to get the original film made. The result? The only X-Men movie ever to break $300 million in revenue. Now he's back for Deadpool 2 with co-stars, the returning and always lovely Morena Baccarin and Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Midget Radio. Deadpool 2. How was it?
Deadpool 2. It was the best movie ever made. But not really, you know. I mean, it's an X-Men movie. I don't know. I thought that, like, I mean, overall, I really liked it. I think that it suffered from all the things that are typical of sequels, though. It felt a little fat and a bit directionless. But, I mean, you know, overall, it's still a perfectly enjoyable movie. And one that I don't understand why these fucking Deadpool movies are like the only movies that seem to be able to portray the X-Men in any like legit recognizable fashion. I don't understand why that is. These goddamn Deadpool movies know how to put X-Men on the screen.
Yeah, I would say for the most part, I mean, Ryan Reynolds and whoever the other two people are that helped write this certainly understand Deadpool.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm giving them something because Deadpool has more stuff going on, but some of it just would never transfer to screen.
Yeah.
Obviously, they also understand Colossus pretty well, who plays a bigger part in this, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
They can do whatever the hell they want with Negasonic Teenage Warhead because nobody fucking cares.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. I think he does a good job, and it's just shocking that this is Deadpool and Deadpool 2 are some of the highest quality X title movies out there.
It's ridiculous. Like I don't think this is a spoiler, but there is a scene where basically they have to respond to a new mutant, a young kid who's just manifesting his powers for the first time, and it's pretty destructive and chaotic. That is a classic X-Men story, often repeated throughout the comics, and I can't believe it has taken all the way until Deadpool fucking 2 for us to really actually see that scene play out. Which should tell you a little bit about Fox's ability to make an X-Men movie. But it's just like as soon as I saw that, I was like, God damn, this feels like what an X-Men movie is supposed to be. I can't, and I didn't even realize it until watching it. Like, holy fuck, it's 2018. The first X-Men movie was in like 1999, and this is the first goddamn time that we're seeing something like this.
It is current year, but yes, it has taken almost 20 years for it to happen.
Just ridiculous.
I actually did get a little bit excited when they went out to do that. Not only seeing the old school Blackbird.
Yes. Yeah.
Not movie nonsense Blackbird.
Yeah.
But well, they have movie nonsense Blackbird is inspired by a later Blackbird in the comics, and I think probably heavily also the animated series.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
You can't blame them if they get inspired by the animated series, but they screw everything else up in pretty much all the other movies.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna add some comments here.
Okay.
I consider Deadpool to be a comedy.
Yeah.
And I think that pretty much all sequels to comedies are terrible.
Okay.
They tend to like tune everything up to 11, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And they tend to try to hit the same beats. And I'm going to use two examples, and one example is a movie that I think is truly almost unwatchable, and the other is one that I don't particularly like, and I almost walked out of the movie, and we've already talked about that one.
Ooh, okay.
The first one is Ace Ventura 2.
When Nature Calls.
When Nature Calls. It is the ultimate expression of when people go too far, like trying to amp up a character and to hit all the beats, but to hit them harder.
Yeah.
Like you're a child and you're banging on your pots in the first one, but now you really want to get your mom's attention, so you're just whacking the shit out of them. And that's what Ace Ventura 2 feels like.
But plus, Tactic Angel, what about when he gets stabbed in the legs with the spear? And then he gets stabbed again in the different leg with the spear.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. It took like 15, 20 years after that happened before memes became a thing. And then that scene actually did earn. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because anytime somebody's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna vote for Hillary? You're gonna vote for Trump? Pop in that GIF. It's perfect.
It's fair. Yeah.
But then, that's a movie that went way too far. I haven't seen the new Super Troopers 2 yet. I feel a lot of trepidation. So much trepidation that I'm fairly certain I missed its theatrical run.
Yeah. Probably.
But I mean, there's lots of things that they make a sequel, and it's just like this is bad.
Yeah.
Then you get into like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 did a lot of the same thing.
Oh my God, yes.
Where you have kind of people who were shallow characters in the first one.
Yeah.
And they were definitely more caricatures. And it's like, I like it when, Drax laughs or whatever. And
yep,
we need to have more of that.
More of that. Yeah, that movie's a pretty bad offender.
So, that said, I went into Deadpool 2 expecting train wreck. What we got, I want to say, wasn't Deadpool 1 worthy.
No.
I mean, it's not of the same high quality. It's not as unique or interesting. But then at the same time, it's like, I don't think it's bad.
No.
I don't think it's bad by any stretch of the imagination. There are a couple of parts towards the end, and we'll get into this when we get into spoilers, that I found to be a little excessive and repetitive. Excessive and repetitive, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then, other than that, I don't think that as many jokes landed for me, but there were a couple of... One in particular that I want to talk to you about, but
okay.
I got my biggest laugh at some body humor in this. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Okay.
Do you want to add any questions, any thoughts in the spoilery part of our review?
I don't think so. I guess I'm a little curious because watching this movie was like 2 hours long, which actually felt maybe a little bit on the long side to me. But I don't know. Did you also feel the movie was a little? I don't know why, but like directionless feels kind of like the right term for me. And it seems like something that's typical to sequels. It felt a little bit. Like watching it, I felt a little bit like Age of Ultron, where there was just kind of a lot of shit going on in Age of Ultron, and in that movie, it just kind of petered around a little bit. This Deadpool 2 is not nearly as bad as Age of Ultron was with that, but it just felt a little. It certainly didn't feel as tight and as succinct as the first film was.
I didn't look at the runtime. I guess that it was 2 hours doesn't surprise me. It did feel a little long in the sense that they were trying to do something that is in the most traditional explanation, just simply not normal storytelling.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that you naturally have to get more long-winded because of it.
Sure.
And it also deals with, I mean, your main character is an almost insane. He's played much more sane in this than he is in certainly the comic books or High Moon Studios terrible but delightful game.
Yeah.
But you have an insane character, a complicated plot that has I want to say that it has a lot of tonal inconsistency, but in a way that doesn't become really grating.
Yes.
And I almost feel like this is a thing with this is a question that I think we can maybe try to answer in a non-spoiler.
Okay.
If you make a Deadpool movie that's fucking horrible, but you do so in a way that is clearly intentional, is it a bad Deadpool movie?
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I guess that's a...
Because I mean, we can remember back to the Cable, the floating, talking taco head. He's gonna kill Samantha, and you'll never get another one of Samantha's tacos.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's absurdist humor.
Yeah.
And that typically doesn't work all that well.
No.
Most humor, I guess, that people find most funny is contradiction resolution. Right?
Yes.
Fine. Anyway, so like there's a part of me that thinks if you, I mean, you could make a bad Deadpool movie.
Sure.
And you could do it intentionally, and there would be a certain charm to it. You could make a really bad Deadpool movie and make it just ridiculous B movie. And I don't know. And I think you could still probably get away with. I think you can get away with a lot with Deadpool as a character if the audience is willing to follow you there. And at this point, the audience is willing to follow a giant spaceman trying to deliver upon an eco-socialist utopia by killing half of the galaxy. And he's opposed by a walking tree and a talking raccoon.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
True. I think for Deadpool, it has to be funny. Like, the jokes generally have to land. If it's not fucking funny, then if it's not funny and it's not clever, I just don't see. I'm not sure that it would be all that successful. Because even if you make a bad Deadpool movie, Deadpool has to be kind of self-aware enough of how bad the movie is. That's the fourth wall sort of meta humor.
Yeah, but if he's cracking jokes the whole time, and like you see it in the first one when he's complaining about like these are the only two X-Men that the studio would give him. Yeah. And like that stuff's funny.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You can throw that in a really bad movie, and as long as the rest of it kind of is intentionally bad and he's funny. Yeah. It can work.
Yeah, it's gotta be funny.
So I guess that's the one caveat I didn't really put in. As long as he's funny,
yes,
the movie can be as bad as possible. And for Deadpool, it does work.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you would have the High Moon Studios game. Which is a brilliant piece.
That game is funny as fuck. Yeah. Holy shit.
If you haven't played it, try to find it cheap.
Oh my god. You should be able
to, because it is. The controls, I would say, are not very good.
They're terrible. But that game is so funny. That was one of the few experiences where I had to put the controller down because I was laughing so fucking hard. I couldn't do anything else and just had to place it on the ground and have this experience. And calm down enough to pick it back up.
Yes. It's funny. It is a really funny game. Anyway, let's go ahead and get off of this nonsense. We'll put up some stars here so that people can decide if they want to see a movie that they've probably already seen based on two extremely popular internet personalities.
Yes.
Midget Radio, what would you give Deadpool 2, the greatest movie ever created?
The greatest movie ever made, I think deserves 3.5 stars from me. Sure, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm gonna go with the 3. I enjoyed it. I don't think a lot of the jokes landed for me, but enough of them landed that, I mean, I had a good time.
Yeah.
This is a perfectly acceptable popcorn movie, or in my case, pork taco movie. And yeah, I'd go see it. Take the kids. No, don't.
Don't
take
please
the kids.
don't. There was a baby in my audience, but I was like, nah, that's okay. It's a baby.
They're not impressionable enough to understand.
No.
All right, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Midget Radio, where would you like to start with?
I don't fucking know. Yeah, I don't know. I will say, so the thing that made the mutant manifesting his powers resonate a little bit more with me is that it was Rusty Collins or Russell Collins with the fire. He's actually a character who I think was introduced in X Factor #1, but when X Factor started up back in the 80s, that was like one of their first stories, was this kid, Russell, manifesting his powers. They were extremely destructive, and X Factor having to come in and sort of mitigate the situation and take him in and start to train him and stuff. It was a good story. It was exciting to see that on screen. And I love that trope. I love that aspect of the X-Men franchise. The young kid who's, just developing his powers, just realizing this and what a traumatic effect it has on his life, and what a destructive effect it can be on those around him, and this group having to come in and sort of rescue him. I just love that shit, and I love that it's in this fucking movie. I thought they did it really, really well.
Yeah, and I thought it was, I like that the X-Men roll up, and it is funny to watch Deadpool try to interact with all these people.
It is. Yeah, I liked when he first realized that the kid was maybe being abused, and he just decided to execute the fucking the one scientist. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, it served the purpose of the movie pretty well in terms of its plot. Do you think also the inclusion of an X-Force storyline was a reference to perhaps the first appearance of Deadpool and Domino, which I think both were in X Factor #19?
Well, they would have been. Their first appearances were like New Mutants 98 or so. New Mutants ended around 100, and then X-Force began. And I want to say Deadpool's first appearance, which was either the same issue as or like one issue off from the first appearance of Domino, was like 98 or so.
But not exactly Domino.
Not exact. That's true. That is true. That is true. Not exactly Domino. But yeah, it probably was. If you're gonna make an X-Force movie, I'd certainly prefer these people to make that fucking movie. And the Deadpool, which is practically a goddamn franchise in itself, is a perfect place to introduce the concept of X-Force. It's weird. It's a little weird to do it through the perspective or the lens of Deadpool, but it's like they are kind of a, I don't want to call them a kill squad, even though that's what they are, but they are a by any means necessary fucking group of mutants. Well,
let me put it this way. We don't kill people. Colossus is not on that team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're a decisive decision-making group of mutants.
That's probably why you love them so much.
I do love them. I do fucking love them. But yeah, I love it. It's a perfect vehicle to introduce them, and I think I definitely think like Deadpool would only get stronger with a like pretty decent bench of other teammates and stuff, and I think Cable and Domino are perfect for that. So even if the next movie's called like Deadpool and X-Force or whatever the fuck, that works for me.
How did you feel about Cable and Domino?
I loved fucking Cable, and I did kind of fall in love with Domino. I was a little like, when we first saw like the picture of Domino and it's like the afro and all that stuff, like, God damn, this is a little bit of a weird interpretation of Domino. But Zazie Beetz, I think, is the actress's name. That is exactly Domino in the comics. That kind of like cocky, self-sure, that intense amount of self-confidence. All of that is totally Domino's character. It makes perfect sense given how her power set works. I mean, if you're somebody who shit just works out for all the fucking time, that's absolutely how she is in the comics. So yeah, I was completely on board, and yeah, I love her. I mean, that's Domino in the comics. It's literally, she looks a little different, and that's about it.
I don't know. I kind of felt like I thought Cable was pretty great.
Yeah.
Now, that said, I do kind of like it when they play Cable like a little bit of an aloof asshole buffoon.
Yeah.
And they don't really do that here. Cable is a pretty serious character through and through.
Yeah.
And that works too. I mean, Gosling does just a fantastic job, and I appreciate his decision making. I also,
do you mean Brolin? Josh Brolin? I think you said Gosling, but Josh Brolin was Cable.
Josh
Whedon
Brolin
was Joss Whedon was Cable. Yeah.
It's a little tubbier than I remember, but he's got some great lines. Anyway, they would be slightly quippy. Whatever. Brolin does a great job. I thought that it was hilarious that his gun had a dial and he could.
I love that 11. Too. It looked like a fucking like right off a goddamn amp. That was awesome. Stupid and awesome.
I'm not sure what that gun is, but I want one. So, Wednesday Night Gentlemen, fully in support of the Second Amendment on that one.
Oh, fuck yeah. If I had a gun that could go up to 11, are you kidding?
It can apparently shoot things. I like his shield. I like his arm.
The arm looked great.
The arm looked fucking great.
Yeah,
I actually do kind of appreciate that they didn't try to give him a half metal skull, because that in the comic books is like 50-50 effective.
Yeah.
And when I mean 50-50, I mean more like 80 not and 20 okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does he drink soup? Is that just not a thing?
No.
Does he chew with his head tilted towards the fleshy side?
I'm not sure you ever see him eat, but
probably because nobody's figured it out. They're like, that's gonna be gross. We're just gonna skip it.
Yeah.
Let's just say he fills up with E85. Keeps going.
Yeah.
Domino, I felt kind of was like not much of a character at all, and I kind of feel like, okay, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the idea behind Domino that she is essentially a passive telekinetic that basically instinctively bends the world around her to her advantage?
That's been kind of an explanation that's never been consistent, and it really doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, but like in this one, I just kind of feel like she's like, oh, I'm just lucky. And you're just like, okay, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually sure she has. Well, that's not true. She does have other lines, and the other lines did kind of annoy me a little bit.
Really?
But like the back and forth, and it's like, I'm lucky. That's not a superpower. Let's meet in the middle and say it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was basically 90% of her dialogue as far as I can remember.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless it was like 2 or 3 words.
There was a little bit in the car. She's like,
I grew up here, and you're like, aren't you like a what?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is she?
It's fine.
Nah.
She's a mutant. She was in the orphanage. Whatever the fuck.
Is
She's
she
probably
a mutant?
pulled out.
Does she count as a mutant, or is she a mutate?
She is a mutant. Yes.
But she was specifically bred and engineered.
So well, just like Wolverine. Yeah, I mean, she is still technically a mutant. You know, she has the X gene and all. So, yeah. I mean, there's never been like that much of a deep exploration of fucking Domino's past, and I don't expect that kind of religious adherence to canon in any movie that I see.
I understand, but like there was little parts of me that was just like, yeah, it's unfortunate.
No, it's fine. It's totally fucking fine with me. I kind of like that aspect of what's nice about these movies is that like, and what I appreciate about Reynolds' approach is that he's actually, I don't know, he's like brought a slightly new dimension to some of this stuff. And the fact that like, I like the aspect that Domino doesn't know why she's joining this team, doesn't know why. She's just like, I just kind of feel like maybe I'm supposed to, and I'll figure it out later. That's an aspect of her power set and her character that hasn't really been explored that much in the comics, and it's not and it's a dimension that makes perfect sense, I think, with how she works it with her particular character psychology and how that power would work. It just kind of makes sense, and I sort of like that she's almost resigned to this larger like a fate or the like she feels like the universe is sort of directing her life. Like, I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing here, but I'm going to sort of figure it out. It makes sense for Nina Thurman to kind of think like that. And I like that this movie is the only time I've ever seen that actually really explored, because there are about 50 million fucking mutants. Domino's amazing, but you know, there hasn't exactly been a whole lot on her. But so yeah, well, I mean, I can get behind that. Most of the time she shows
up, she's just with somebody else and they're killing.
Yeah, people. Yeah. But X-Force, Sex and Violence, great little 3-part miniseries with Domino and Wolverine. If you want to check that out, all of our many listeners.
Is that the one where they're dating?
I don't know if dating is the right term, but
banging.
Yeah, definitely that. It's pretty fun. I don't know,
because like there are other things, and I kind of just feel like, I mean, I wasn't disappointed at Zazzy
Beats?
Zazzy. I like Zazzy Beats.
Zazzy?
Because it sounds like snazzy.
Yeah,
snazzy
that's
beats.
True.
Snazzy, it sounds like she's a rapper. I'm not really sure what her background is.
No, I have no idea either.
So anyway, she has a name that I assume is made up.
Yeah. She didn't pop out of the womb with Zazzy.
Maybe. Or as Thor said, that all words are made up.
That's true. They are.
Yeah. Which I actually thought was probably the funniest line in that movie.
Yeah.
It might have actually been his delivery, but anyway, I don't know. I feel some things about this are weird because Morena Baccarin is playing Vanessa. And Vanessa's character is has been billed in like IMDb and stuff as copycat.
And you're like, yep.
You're like, what?
I mean, that can't be the case anymore. That can't actually be true.
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
And okay, whatever. And then like at the same time, Cable knew her way in the past before she was captured and impersonated by Copycat.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And is it a coincidence that Klaus is the only other person she's had a romantic interlude with?
Yeah.
Is also in this?
Yeah.
Well, other than Wolverine, who's currently uncast because he's dead.
That's true. He's very dead. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I really like.
I just kind of feel like
though.
they added her and they're like, this is Copycat, not Copycat, but this is Domino, whatever, fuck off if you don't like her. And you're just like, well, here's the thing, she didn't do much for me.
I like her. That's Nina Thurman, man, in the comics. I mean, that's, you know, I don't bring any of the comics baggage really with me into the theater. When they touch on it and it's right, I'm like, that's fucking great. But other than that, I just don't really give a shit. That definitely sounded like Domino to me. Everything
I
said,
just wanted
her whole demeanor, like,
I got excited when they said Domino because Domino's a cool character.
she's awesome.
And like this movie, she didn't really do anything.
Well, she didn't. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I'm kind of hoping that, like, in the next movie, we get a little bit. Honestly, that we get more of Domino and Cable. I would like a lot more of both of those characters.
I would watch a movie called The Cable Show.
Yeah, because honestly, the comic stuff, I wasn't really like bothered by Domino, but some of the stuff with Cable, I was like, I don't understand what you're fucking doing, especially with the reference to his daughter Hope. I don't understand what the fuck they're doing there. Because that does not make sense comics wise. That he has a daughter named Hope who's in the future. And that he comes from a future so Russell, right, in this movie, the storyline
Comes from a future where he has an apartment.
Yeah, he has a fucking apartment, and Russell shows up one day and fucking melts his family, basically. And that sucks. And you're like, all right, I get that. I was
waiting for the Back to the Future reference. Right?
We got a RoboCop reference, but yeah, no Back to the Future. That's sort of weird.
But like, seriously, when the doll became not a burnt, fucked up doll. You were like, here comes
bear.
the Marty McFly reference.
Yeah.
Nothing?
Yeah. I know. But so, like, the Hope stuff doesn't make any fucking sense. And I don't know what to make of that.
I don't know either because I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know much about Hope because I think she is significantly after when I was paying attention to comics.
Well, she was the mutant messiah. She was born in the present, and Cable had to adopt her and take her into the future to prevent Bishop from trying to fucking execute her because Bishop was kind of out of his mind at that point.
It seems like those two guys should get along a lot because they're both.
But they have,
fucking...
I guess they have different interpretations of how to fix the future. I don't know, but they have really significant political differences on how to amend.
I really dislike Bishop.
I like Bishop a lot. Well, wait, what am I saying? I'm trying to think of a mutant that I don't love.
How about Darwin?
I like Darwin. Yeah, I like Darwin. I do like
Armor?
Darwin.
You like Armor?
I love Armor. Of course I love Armor. Come on.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm pretty sure that you love pretty much... I mean, like, other than, like, Negasonic Teenage Warhead prior to...
Yeah, I mean, I love her too, but yeah.
Prior to the movies.
Great. She has
at which point, you probably were just like, yeah, she's just not a mutant. Whatever.
She's a mutant. So automatically, that gives you a bunch of points in my book. Then your name is Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and you're like, all right, I know enough. I support you.
I'm not sure what Negasonic means, but...
I don't know. Sounds cool.
It works. It works. We're getting off track.
We totally are. But yeah, fantastic portrayal of Cable. We may disagree on Domino, but I love Domino. But yeah, I definitely fucking loved Cable in this. And I don't know about you, maybe this makes me really shallow, but it makes a huge difference to me that Cable can fucking swear at people. Because Cable's supposed to be a goddamn hard ass in the comics, and I love that he calls Deadpool a cunt and a clown dressed up like a sex toy. Like, that's fucking, that sounds like goddamn Cable to me. That's the kind of fucking character I expect. That's the kind of words I expect to fucking hear from this dude. And Brolin nailed it, and the script fucking nailed it. And I'm excited to see. God, I want to see more of him.
I do, and I appreciate that as well, because it's, I mean, you can't swear in comic books because you know the code,
right,
and all the good stuff.
Yeah,
but like you get the sense that Cable was always supposed to be a guy who would chase the Terminator back in time and spit in his face.
Yeah, he's a fucking soldier. Yeah, man. Yeah. He's a fucking
Wait, I've come to you with an important mission from the future.
Yeah, I love it. I don't, these fucking Deadpool movies, man. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand why Ryan Reynolds is like the only person who knows how to fucking bring these people to life on screen. But apparently he is.
But he's okay. A lot of it's like he's having fun. Fun goes a long way.
It does. It does. It's R-rated fun, but yeah.
Several of his jokes, particularly in the first one, are hilarious.
Yeah.
Actually, the second funniest part was, my name is Zeitgeist.
Yes.
So your superpower is that you can sense the pulse of...
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I spit acid.
So that's a real character. And that was kind of exciting. The whole creating the X-Force team. I loved all of that. I particularly love Shatterstar, and I love how completely unapologetic the movie is, where Shatterstar is just like, I'm from Planet Mojo World, and I'm better at everything.
Than you.
Yeah, and you're like, as I was watching that, I was like, that's exactly who that's exactly his fucking character. He's such a prick. Like, that's exactly how he fucking is, man.
Okay.
And Deadpool's just, I don't give a shit. That's exactly, I love it. God.
That leads to the funniest part of that movie.
So I understand that it's funny. As an X-Men fan, I was really sad. I appreciated the humor, but I was like, God damn it, Mr. Reynolds. This is a little emotionally trying for me.
Oh no, they killed Shatterstar, one of the most obnoxious characters.
You know what?
And
I liked that he had green blood, though. That was great.
It was great.
I was like, at least in your in your extremely fucking violent approach to these people, you were still comics accurate with. God damn it. Yeah. So they kill everybody in X-Force like immediately.
All the Zeitgeist fans are very sad.
You know what? They fucked up Vanisher, though. That was Brad Pitt, apparently.
It was Brad Pitt. And that's kind of why that was a joke at the beginning of this.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. But then see, the comics baggage comes in, and I'm like, Vanisher's a teleporter. It's not like he turns invisible. He's a fucking teleporter. And yes, he actually was on X-Force at a point, unwillingly, but he was on the X-Force team. It's like he's not invisible. Come on, Deadpool.
Son of a bitch.
I know, but whatever. It was still funny.
It was still in there for an obvious joke.
Yeah.
Seeing the backpack walk out of the...
It's so stupid.
And what's his name? Pete?
Yeah,
Peter?
Pete. I do choose to believe that not only did Deadpool save Pete in the end credits sequence where he got a hold of Cable's time device, but also saved all of the rest of the X-Force crew. I think that is indisputable. So they're all alive. Shatterstar's alive.
Shatterstar's dead. He got hit
He's
by
alive.
a thing.
See, that's the important thing. Shatterstar.
He's a prick.
He's awesome.
Wait, I do remember one other line. Who would have known about the wind?
Yeah. It was a good, yeah, it was really, so what did you think? I was excited. So when this movie was being made, right, there was a bit of an issue with the original director of the first Deadpool movie and Ryan Reynolds. Apparently there were maybe some creative differences. And so the guy who ended up directing Deadpool 2 was from John Wick, which I appreciated that joke also. In the opening credits, brought to you by one of the guys who killed the dog in John Wick. What did you think overall, though, of the action sequences in this movie?
So I mean they serve a purpose, but I don't think they're all that. Deadpool is a comedy, right?
It is, yes, yeah.
The action is incidental to the jokes.
Yeah.
And so like some of it worked for me and some of it didn't. I thought like the Domino stuff worked, except that the Domino stuff just felt like this just feels like you're treating her as a person who's lucky instead of a person who has any sort of explanation for why she's lucky.
Yeah.
Well, she was specifically bred by the Project Armageddon or some nonsense.
Some garbage, yeah.
Trying to make the next super soldier / Weapon X project, kill everybody.
Weapon X by a different name. Yeah.
That's who Domino is. I think she had like a psychic mother and she was supposed to be like super psychic assassin and like they were like, oh, she doesn't work because she can't control her powers and so they whatever. So anyway, like it just felt lucky, but then at the same time, like some of those shots are really fun.
Yeah.
That chase scene is kind of the one and only really stand out.
Yeah. It really is, yeah.
Because even at the end, like you see barely anything of Domino actually doing anything.
Yeah.
And it, again, kind of detracts from my experience because it's like, oh, isn't it lucky that cabinet fell over and decapitated that guy?
Yeah.
First of all, I didn't want to see that. And second of all, it just felt like,
So I love it. But like, see, I don't know. Maybe that's where our differences are. Cause I think the passive telekinesis explanation for Domino's power is fucking like boring and lame. I like the mysterious shit just works out for her. I don't care that it doesn't make sense. That fucking does not matter to me at all. I like that it's mysterious and weird. And shit just works out, and that's how she conducts her entire life, basically.
I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I do like the reference to, like in the comic books, she occasionally just guesses numbers to like door locks. Like she could walk up to my door and she'd be like 17253.
Yeah, fuck it, try it. Yeah, let's see if it works. Yeah.
And the garage door goes up and she gets all the pizzas out of my frozen.
Yeah.
My deep freeze in the garage.
How many pizzas do you have in there? It must be a lot if she's robbing those. Like, must be.
Well, they're very nice.
Maybe some rare frozen pizza.
Rare frozen pizzas. Can't get them anywhere else. So I appreciate that. Like, but to use that whole set piece as an example, the main action there is Colossus versus Juggernaut, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is not a fair fight.
No.
But you know that Colossus wouldn't back down if
Fuck
he
no.
was doing the right thing. I love Colossus.
I do too.
Anyway, how much of that do you really see? Because like he's fighting in the background and Wade's got a spike through his head and he's having some moment.
Yeah.
And like the whole thing is just a joke because the joke is actually that Wade is insane and he's like acting like this fruity guy who's playing the girl in whose arms was he in? I don't remember. Was it Colossus?
Yeah, he picks him up. Yeah.
And then
like
in the
air
background it
supply
must
is paying,
be everybody else fighting Juggernaut. And it's just like, oh, whatever. The action is just a joke here. And then we get to the end, and the action is kind of, or the threat of violence, really, because it's not so much action, it's just things that are on fire.
Yeah.
It's there to remind you that there are theoretically stakes.
Yeah.
But then even when Cable runs forward and he's going to shoot the kid and he takes the bullet, it's just a setup for, honestly, a joke that is a dead horse, literally, by the end of that scene.
It does maybe go on a bit too long, which,
just a little bit.
Where you're like, part of the humor is that it goes on too long, but I mean, at the same time, it does go on too long, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I was a little like, on a number of the action sequences, I love the domino stuff. Like that was one of the things I was most excited to see, was how to choreograph any sort of stunt sequence surrounding her power. So I love the stuff like the dude points a gun at Domino's face, fires, and it misfires.
It's a blank.
That kind of shit I just absolutely love. And you can see it in Domino's face. I love that about Zazie Beetz' performance, where it's like, there's a gun in her face. She almost fucking knows it's not going to go off because that's just how things play out for her. I just love that aspect of her character. To have just that kind of faith that you can stick a gun in my face and I know I'm going to be fine. Like, that's just wonderful. But at the same time, like, I was a little disappointed in just some of the sequences. There was something almost too, I don't know, maybe I'm alone on this, but there was something almost too like methodical about how the action was choreographed as a whole. There was something, I don't know, something kind of slow about some of these sequences that I don't know, they didn't feel like as inspired as I was hoping that they would. Be.
Like, did this
John
guy
Wick
also
2 versus John Wick 1 really is kind of what I'm saying here.
Okay, because I mean, I have only seen John Wick 2, and as you recall, I was not terribly impressed by that.
And there's something methodical, right, about how those scenes are choreographed.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt.
So this is the guy from John Wick or
Yeah.
John Wick 2?
I don't know. It may be the same person. I just know he was I can't remember if he was the director or the stunt choreographer for John Wick. And I'm sure he was in John Wick 2 as well. So
yeah. I didn't really get that because I guess the next most interesting fight, and partly because it is a joke, is when Wade beats the shit out of everyone and stabs them with a descending order of knives from his cutting block.
Oh yeah, that one was yeah. That one I did enjoy. Yeah.
Like that worked for me.
That was clever. Yeah.
Even the first one where the guy's running away in slow-mo and everything else appears to be going
that was great.
Speed.
Yeah, that was great too. Yeah. I mean,
thought so, because I thought that was just. I mean,
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was weird. I was like, I feel like this guy is running a lot slower than everything else that is going on.
Well, I mean, it's just a joke.
It is, yeah.
and that's how you have to take it.
Yeah.
And it. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think there are a lot of action sequences that stand out in this.
There aren't.
And you're like, man, I really need to watch that again and again. Because,
yeah. And maybe that's what I'm a little disappointed with. I was hoping that there'd be a little bit more in there. Because I feel like, particularly with Domino, I feel like there's a lot of potential there. And two, just given who is directing this film, I kind of was hoping. And there was stuff like in the first Deadpool that I just loved, like cut the dude's head off and then spin kick the decapitated head at another bad guy. Like that kind of stuff. You're just like, that's fucking brutal and awesome and amazing. And I love those kind of touches. And I feel like there wasn't as much of that in this film. And I don't know, just overall some of the choreography felt slow. Yeah. I liked the Deadpool puts his hand on the gun, dude fires a bullet through his hand. Deadpool doesn't give a fuck, turns the gun around on the guy. Yeah, I mean that kind of stuff was brilliant. So I understand. My complaint is probably absurd, but
okay, we're gonna take a brief intermission here as we talk about.
I know.
Do you remember what played in terms of previews before your movie?
Oh Jesus Christ! I don't know. I know that fucking Mission Impossible because it played in front of Avengers too. That goddamn Mission Impossible movie, and I don't.
Do you remember one with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? It's an action movie. He plays a guy with an amputated leg who is a security specialist for like the tallest tower in the world.
Wow, what the fuck? No, I do not. No.
It's called Skyscraper. And here's a spoiler. We're seeing it.
Okay. Well, Dwayne Johnson action movie.
Dwayne Johnson.
It's not a Fast and the Furious movie, so I can definitely get behind it.
Oh man, I watched it and it wasn't that, and I was like, yes, assume the throne.
I know, seriously. Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
We're seeing that.
Okay, cool. I'm down. I did not see that.
I don't know when it comes out, but we're seeing it.
No, I'm down. Totally.
Boom.
Sweet.
Okay. What were we talking? Deadpool?
Mm-hmm. Deadpool 2, I mean, think, yeah.
Okay. I was just going to continue to complain because essentially, other than like running in the slow motion car flying over her head and the bouncing
I know,
breasts, which I found to be pretty fascinating. Domino is the person who drives the car.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she does, and that, I guess that was disappointing because at the end of the movie, it's like, well, we're gonna go assault a fucking orphanage, basically. Like, well, so she's fighting a bunch of like orderlies. I mean, is that it? Like that, and that was kind of disappointing. That was the other aspect of this movie where it's like there wasn't enough. You need for an action movie to work, right? And for those scenes to work, you need to have a bunch of bad guys, and you need to have a shitload of them in general. And it's like if they're all wearing their fucking scrubs, it's like I don't understand.
These are people who can pick. These are people who can pick on children.
Yeah. So you're like, it's just not much of a fucking threat. So yeah, that's maybe part of the other thing that was a little disappointing about some of the action sequences in this movie, because it's like these are just a bunch of fucking guys who order kids around. I don't give a shit. Of course she can fucking dominate these pieces of shit. Like, it doesn't matter, you know. So yeah, I mean, really, I guess the car chase was like the biggest thing, and yeah,
and she's mostly the guy who drives the car.
Yeah. Whereas, like at the end of the first Deadpool movie, right, he's walking up to that, like, I don't know what the hell it was, freight ship or whatever the fuck it was, and you're like, okay, so it's Francis and he's got a shitload of badasses around. I don't remember what that, I think it was an aircraft carrier. And so yeah, it's Francis and a bunch of fucking badasses. Like, okay, I get it. But yeah, I don't know. There could have been more. I was really sad. Like, why? I don't understand why Gina Carano wasn't in this movie. But I could use a little.
I don't
more
understand why she's not in
Angel
all the
Dust.
movies,
She should
buddy.
be in all the movies. That is true. That is true. Maybe that might be unique to the Wednesday Night Gentleman. Why she's not in every movie ever. But yeah, a little disappointed in that. Though fantastic, glorious portrayal of the Juggernaut in this film. Just wonderful. Wonderful. Sounded exactly how the Juggernaut should sound. Just fantastic. And I loved the exchange between him and Rusty. Russell Collins. Yeah. It's hard for me not to think of him as Rusty, but yeah. Yeah. My brother's in a fucking wheelchair, that piece of shit. And like, I mean, that's just, I love how completely unapologetic Deadpool is with the comic references. And Juggernaut's a fucking prick and a piece of shit and kind of an asshole, but he will definitely befriend a kid who wants to do a bunch of violence. It makes perfect sense. Kane Marco is a son of a bitch, and yeah. I don't understand why the fuck are Deadpool movies the only goddamn movies that can show X-Men. I don't know why that is.
It's hard to figure, right?
I certainly didn't expect it, but I appreciate the hell out of it. So,
I mean, I don't know. Somehow Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead showing up to ask a kid to behave himself.
Yeah.
And say, we're here to help you.
Yeah.
Somehow that strikes you as way more X-Men-ly.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that in that way because you're wrong. But that's way more X-Men-ly than like pretty much anything else we've seen.
It absolutely is. Yeah, it absolutely is. And this is like, that was the other thing I was thinking about watching this fucking movie, that Deadpool 2, like the theme, as he rather explicitly makes clear, is about family. And you're like, that's exactly what the X-Men franchise is about. That is what separates it from the Avengers and every other fucking superhero franchise. It is about a group of people becoming a kind of family together. And Deadpool, it's taken 20 fucking years to get to that point.
And the least serious character you can think of.
It's just absurd. It's absolutely absurd for movies that are this fucking ridiculous to be able to nail these aspects of this franchise, the strengths of this franchise, the things that make it distinct from other superhero fucking fanfare.
No, I will say one thing in defense of the X-Men movies, and this may seem uncharacteristic.
It does. It already does if you're saying you're about to defend the X-Men movies. I'm not sure where we're about to go here. So I'm a little nervous. But
I absolutely loved the relationship between Logan and Professor X in Logan.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes. God,
right up
Jesus
until
Christ.
the point where it became a dumb movie.
I mean, I don't hate the Fox X-Men movies. It's just that the Deadpool movies seem to understand like where the heart of this franchise lives, more so than any of the other movies. Like,
what I'm saying is, you see so much character development out of Wolverine as a character by the time you get to that film, and to see him like going through all of these steps and doing all of this shit and driving around drunken college kids or high school kids and all this stuff just so he can try to buy the medicine to keep Professor X alive, even though Professor X appears to have killed everything.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
And like there's a certain like beauty in like the advancement of their relationship. And kind of that sort of familial thing, and being willing to do all of whatever it takes, essentially.
Yeah.
And not in the traditional heroic violent sort of way, but literally putting in hours in a coal mine if that's what it takes to get Professor X's stuff.
Yeah, that movie, I would say Logan, more than any other movie, nailed the sort of like the familial aspect.
It had a heart.
Yeah.
And then it just got dumb.
Yeah, that twist didn't bother me as much the second time around. But I agree. I mean, I agree with you. That's where it started. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
I mean, you had this beautiful movie that was going to be so much better.
Yeah.
And was on such a better path.
Yeah. And did this completely unnecessary thing. And yeah.
And you're like, no, what we really need is.
Yeah. I know. I get it. I fucking get it. I get it. I know.
Anyway.
I get
so
it.
I was just going to point that out. That is I think one other time you really see it. Maybe inklings of it when you see the new Charles talking to Mystique, which I mean doesn't seem to make sense.
No.
With the rest of the cinematic universe,
no.
But the X-Men have been real fast and loose with the continuity.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's there in bits and pieces, and I don't know. It's hard. I can't. It's hard for me to talk about because I have a lot of emotional investment in the franchise. Anyway, but yeah, Logan captures definitely a significant portion of it. And Deadpool seems to have it pretty well figured out. And I don't know. I don't understand why it's not.
You do kind of wonder. Is Ryan Reynolds making this movie so that maybe someone else in Fox will have seen it and will make an actual X-Men?
That would be nice. I would love to see like a legit, like an actual X-Men. Because even as much as I enjoy and as much as I like Days of Future Past, the way I see that movie though is still as like a really solid and really good Fox X-Men movie. It doesn't feel though, honestly, at the end of it still doesn't feel like I don't know. It doesn't feel like the X-Men that I know and love. It just feels like a really good Fox X-Men movie that is playing in a universe that has already fucked up a lot of stuff, and these are at least decent portrayals of Xavier, Magneto, Mystique, and I like the dynamic between all three of those. And I think it's really well handled, and I think the plot is really tight. And Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is always a pleasure to watch. But
you do hope they get a short, fat, ugly guy to.
I wouldn't mind that. Yeah, someone who's a little. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't mind that. But what are you gonna do? I don't know. What are you gonna do? I like the new cast. I like the. I did like the. When he goes in
the door.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was a pretty good scene. I enjoyed that, and I actually like that cast pretty well for the new X-Men, despite the fact that X-Men Apocalypse is not a good movie. I do like the cast overall. I like Ty Sheridan as Cyclops. He's a pretty good, like, young Cyclops, and I was really surprised that what's her face, Game of Thrones lady, Jean Grey. I thought I was gonna fucking hate her. Not bad though. Really not bad. Nightcrawler was great, but
I guess it helps when the script calls for you to do something other than sit around despondently and getting raped every other episode.
Yeah.
What a progressive show.
Game of Thrones. But yeah, Deadpool 2. I what the fuck? Of course I enjoyed it. So trying to think of other things to say. Do you have anything else that like stuck out? Anything major with Deadpool 2? It's a ridiculous movie.
I enjoyed the stupid dubstep references.
Yeah.
The jokes that didn't work for me are stacked actually fairly heavily towards the end of the movie.
Okay.
And I felt like they were, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong here, but it kind of felt like every time they would go to that place, all of the jokes would be about pedophilia.
Okay. Yes, that is true. Yeah.
And like, I mean, as a person who appreciates the idea that somebody could make a good cannibalism joke,
Sure.
because I think there are things, there are probably things you shouldn't make jokes about, period. And most of that stuff is timed, right? Because eventually you have to learn how to laugh about things.
Yes.
Or life is just miserable.
Yes.
That said, there are certain areas that become uncomfortable, and I felt like they were kind of like they kept hitting the same button, and you're just like, I'm not actually convinced that these people are all that evil. Like, I understand you're trying to tell me that they are.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, this is probably not super great, but I don't know if we need to be executing all of them. Also, we showed up at a place to stop Fire Fist. What is his stupid name?
His name is Russell Collins. Rusty Collins.
Fire Fist from killing a person, and instead we've killed everyone for him.
Yeah.
Which is just, it's absurd, and you're like, I'm not really seeing the heroism here.
That's fair though. So okay, I get. I think what you're saying is absolutely valid. I think one, like, it sounded like it was I can't remember what they called it, but it was definitely Essex something. Nathaniel Essex is Mr. Sinister. So clearly, like, when as soon as I heard that, I was like, all right, I get it. This is some sort of fucking, we round up mutants and do a bunch of weird goddamn experiments on them because of Mr. Sinister. I get that portion of it. But I agree with you that in the film itself, it's really goddamn unclear what they're doing. Like, it's a little unclear even if they're like evil. Even, I mean, you get it like at the very end, right? When the guy's like, you're a mutant, you're an abomination and a fucking whatever. Like, okay, that actually sounds a little more Purifier than Essex Corporation.
Yeah, okay. I was actually getting a strong Purifier vibe off of these
I
people.
didn't really understand that. Yeah.
And then at the same time, it's like, I don't know if the Purifiers would run like a rehabilitation.
No, they fucking wouldn't. No, there's no fucking way they would.
Like,
yeah, it does.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If we set him on fire and he doesn't burn, he's a mutant. We should kill him.
There you go.
But if we set him on fire and he burns, then we purify his soul.
We're good. Yeah.
It's like the old drowning the witch thing.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's what I would expect from a purifier.
Yeah, I absolutely get that point of view. Shit.
But man, like, I get the sinister thing, and like, I get that, but there are actually places called Essex, which makes me not think that, like, just because it's called Essex, it must be a sinister thing.
It's bad.
And it would be hard to figure out what in the world the Sinister would want to do with getting mutants to not be mutants.
Yeah, I don't understand that either, if he's trying to isolate it, or, I mean, the Essex thing, like, he's a geneticist, you know. A lot of times he was like really fascinated with the Summers DNA. I don't really understand what that was about.
He's plot.
I mean, pretty much. Like, he's kind of a fucked up character. Doesn't really make a whole ton of sense, but yeah. So I get it. Essex means bad. I understand that. But yeah, that really wasn't very clear in the movie. You're just like, they're abusing these kids because they put these things on the neck and it like seems to hurt, you know, it's bad for the kid. Like, oh, all right.
Did you feel like it was weirdly topical about this guy wanting to go back to the place of his teenage angst and want to murder everyone?
No.
Okay.
You think so? No, I didn't really get that.
I was kind of getting a little bit of that with the whole the back and forth between the two of them did go on a long time, and naturally the death scene went on forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I there was a part of me that was like, wow, is this trying to say something? Because there are a lot of people who get all angsty and naturally. I mean, we just saw it within the last week. Shoot up schools, whatever.
Yeah.
Drive trucks down sidewalks.
Right.
That we saw a few weeks before that up in Canada. I don't know.
No, yeah, I didn't think it was. No, that's interesting. I definitely didn't get that impression. I mean, it just made sense for that character. And that's fairly consistent with Russell Collins in the comics as well. That here's a place that sucks ass and made my life a living hell, so I want to go back and fucking burn it to the goddamn ground. I mean, that makes enough sense to me, especially like those kind of feelings make perfect sense. And that's kind of why I love just the X-Men as a franchise, because it's most of these kids are manifesting these powers when they're like 13, 14, years old. It's pubescent, it's childish, it's extremely emotional. So all of that just makes sense to me. Like these fuckers are the worst. They destroyed my life 13 years into it, like, of course he's gonna want to go back and get fucking revenge. That just makes sense to me. That's how a goddamn child acts. It's just raw anger that I completely resonate with. So, just
Midget Radio, who destroyed your life?
I don't know. I'd have to really, really think about that. It's just raw anger that I resonate with. Which probably doesn't seem too inconsistent, really, to me. Just raw anger. Give it to me. I love it.
I don't know. Somebody's got to sit these people down and tell them, all right, now
you need
if
a
you
guidance
live
counselor to
if you live an average life, you'll get to 78-ish. And if you think that your life is ruined now,
yeah,
you're not going to make it.
Why wouldn't you seek revenge? No. Revenge. Vengeance. Yeah. I love that.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not saying that I thought that was definitely. I mean, by the end of the movie, I hope that's not what they were trying to do, because
I don't think so. Yeah.
Certainly having Bo Pinder come back and murder the guy with the taxi.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
Yeah. Definitely. Whatever. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Yeah. That's where, it is hard, because I was thinking about some of the like tonal clashes and stuff in this film too, and for the most part,
there really are
works.
a lot.
There are a ton, and for the most part, I feel like it works. But it's because Deadpool. It's because of who Deadpool is. There's stuff that's like really fucking sappy and emotional. It's like, ew.
That goes back to what I said about a Deadpool movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's his character, though. I mean, that's what informs. That's why it's generally good. It's the character stuff. And Reynolds has put, like, I think a pretty significant investment into Wade Wilson as a goddamn character. And I think the films reflect that, and that's why he can get away with this kind of shit. And it's exactly the reason why movies like Guardians of the Galaxy fail so colossally. On these levels, because those movies, James Gunn has not put that kind of effort into the characters of the Guardians of the Galaxy. He just does whatever the fuck he wants whenever he thinks it's funny.
They're punchlines.
Yeah,
they're caricatures.
yeah. It's random. It's completely James Gunn's sense of humor. Whereas with Reynolds, it's like, I kind of get it. I kind of get like Wade being almost like revoltingly emotional, honestly, almost like absurdly Lifetime sentimental at times, and undercutting that or immediately left turning into a kind of absurd sense of humor. That at least makes a little bit more sense. It's easier to follow, and it feels less like a clash. I don't know.
Did you get a little bit of sense that they were replacing death with Vanessa.
Yes. Yeah. So
Okay.
the differences between Deadpool in the comics and Deadpool in the movies are I think pretty stark.
Monogamy?
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty fucking stark and pretty yeah. I do love that she had to tell I did kind of love that she had to tell Wade not to try to fuck Colossus, but like, I mean, it's kind of fantastic. But yeah, it works for Deadpool because he's kind of a schizophrenic character. I can see him as like all of the entire sense of meaning that I derive from my own life is invested in Vanessa. You know, this character of Vanessa. She's everything to me. But I can still have these weird random sexual feelings for Colossus and God knows who else. All of that still kind of works. He's generally crazy, and that's kind of you know, and it's delightful. It's an absolutely delightful aspect of his character. All of those contradictions. I think generally work. Whereas in movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, they're just an absolute disaster.
There actually aren't any characters that are as well developed as
No.
Wilson in
Yeah.
Guardians of the
There
Galaxy.
fucking aren't. Yeah, there absolutely are not. That's what makes those movies kind of frustrating. But yeah.
It is actually, and it's painful to actually have to say that because I really like the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
Do you really like? I'm still kind of. There's still parts of that movie that really frustrate me. But
it does frustrate me, and I think that the movie's a mess. But there's something charming about it.
okay.
I mean, you get into it. You're like, okay, pretty much once they go to nowhere, the movie falls apart for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't like that so many Nova Corps guys die doing stupid stuff. But like for some reason it still all works, and even though the fight scenes inside the stupid ship that he has are really lazy.
Yeah.
Really colossally lazy.
Yeah.
And forgettable. For some reason, I just like, I don't know. I like that the characters come together. It doesn't feel artificial.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You have, Groot's sacrifice that has a lot of sentimentality. You have, honestly, the dance off I think is pretty hilarious.
I hate it.
I
hated it. Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about that is some of the name calling I thought was unnecessary. Takagato's not a big fan of ad hominem attacks.
Aww.
But
it's Ronan the Accuser, man. I'm gonna challenge Ronan the Accuser to a dance
what did he
off.
call
What
him?
the fuck?
Like a turd nugget or something like that?
He's just gonna sit there and watch. He's Ronan the Accuser. But
I'm gonna be honest. I think Ronan would be very confused if somebody started dancing in front of him.
fuck no. Like, fuck this piece of shit. I don't give a shit. That was not a good portrayal of Ronan the Accuser. I understand that's comics.
And then there's the hand holding scene, which I really like.
Oh God,
I like all the hand holding.
Friends forever. Isn't that a song from Saved by the Bell? Friends forever. Always
And then
will be there.
I just like it.
Jesus Christ.
I love it.
You are a sentimental son of a bitch.
And then Gamora's like, take my hand. And he's like, Mom? And you're like, oh God, that scene was crushing.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Why did they crush me at the beginning of this movie?
That was a really good scene at the beginning of the movie.
They reduced me to a pile of mush.
Friendship powers activate. The end of the
I
movie.
like it.
Jesus Christ.
It's all about family.
You are a
Family's
sappy
not an
son
F
of
word.
a bitch.
I know. My robot brethren would be sad.
They would be. All these emotions. Gross.
I installed the emotion chip.
Mistake. Now the Borg Queen can just like blow the arm hair on your skin.
She can blow something. Thank you though.
Yeah.
We hadn't gotten to a Star Trek.
We hadn't, but now it's there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's what our 100th episode should be. It should just be a compilation of all of the Star Trek references.
It will probably be the longest episode of the Wednesday Night Show. I bet we could do it.
There's just like 3 hours worth of bitching about Burnham stretched out.
Oh my God, yes.
Between 100 episodes.
I know this is off topic, but the Phoenix Comic-Con is this weekend, and there is a panel called Star Trek Discovery Season 1. Was it actually good? I so desperately want to attend.
Are you what else are you doing with your life?
Because it's on Sunday and I think I'm probably going to go on Saturday, but it's like, God damn it. Because I just want somebody to get up and tell me that like Michael Burnham is a good character so that I can get to the microphone and be like, that person is a fucking Nazi, and I will explain why.
Well, that would meet the standard parlance of the time. That is how our dialogue goes.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
I think that Burnham is a bad character for the following reasons. I disagree. You're a Nazi.
Yeah.
Prepare for fists in the face.
Actually, someone asserting that Michael Burnham is a great character, that's the only time I could ever think of that it would be appropriate to call another individual a Nazi. That's it. That's it.
Really?
Yep.
Not even if they were goose stepping down the way with a red armband?
Right? Yeah. Nope. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what they're doing. That's a little weird. But if they also think that Michael Burnham is a great character, you're a Nazi. I know it for sure now.
These episodes. The topic is Deadpool.
We're about out of the larceny at this point.
I think we're just gonna call it because clearly we've lost the plot.
We definitely have.
Thank you everyone for listening. This has been episode number 53 of the Wednesday Night Gentlemen Multimedia Empire official podcast. Please give us a like if you've enjoyed this video. Subscribe to our channel would be even better. You can find us on Twitter where we are at WNG_MME_OBC, and head on over to Facebook where we are simply the Wednesday Night Gentlemen. Thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you again on episode number 54 of this podcast.
Bye-bye.